Philip, great to have you with us. It seems like anybody who's operating in the Bitcoin space, and it could be anybody, it's somebody who's selling a fund or somebody who trades Bitcoin, says regulation is good for the industry. So what kind of regulation would you like to see happen? Because a lot of people are talking about, its use for illicit activity, not being able to trace it. But what are the true issues that need to be regulated in your view?
Great. Well, thanks for having me on. And actually, I think we have the regulatory framework in place already. Cryptocurrencies are already regulated in the US under the Bank Secrecy Act. They've been regulated since 2013, and they're regulated globally by the Financial Action Task Force. I think actually a lot of people have been buying Bitcoin in the last year because the industry has made the strides to really control that illicit activity. In our company at Chainalysis, we actually can see who is using cryptocurrencies, and we can track it from its illegal uses. And in 2020, there was less than 1% of all the flows related to criminal activity. So there's a regulatory framework already, and people are now really getting it in place and getting comfortable with it.
I want to get at that notion that you can't trace where Bitcoin is going to or coming from, because in a blog post, you actually tracked the Bitcoin flow surrounding the Capitol riots. December 8th, your company said that one donor sent 28.15 Bitcoin worth over $500,000 at that time to 22 separate addresses in a single transaction. Can you walk us through what you are able to see in terms of tracking such transactions?
Yeah, so this is where I think Mr. Blankfein gets a little wrong. There is an enormous amount of transparency about the transactions that happen in Bitcoin. So we can see when money moves from what's known as an address to another address, which is similar to your bank account number. The key extra step that was needed in that investigation was to connect that address to the people involved in the Capitol riots. But actually, a lot of them had posted their Bitcoin addresses publicly. And so we were able to actually see for this address that they said was theirs, the Bitcoin go into it. And through some other investigation, that was linked to the donor.
Can we say that perhaps these people are fairly unsophisticated Bitcoin users to actually post their addresses publicly, and that if you are a true criminal, you might not be so brazen, and it might be harder to track those addresses?
It certainly is harder, but that's where the regulatory framework that exists is so important. Law enforcement can actually go to a cryptocurrency exchange and ask for some information around who holds the account, and they have to have that information through the Know Your Customer information that must be submitted. And actually, in the last year, Chainalysis software has been used by law enforcement to make those links into these exchanges from groups like North Korea that Blankfein said wasn't possible to trace. And that's actually resulted in Department of Justice actions being taken.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.